Operation Epic Fury.
Tonight, the Strait of Hormuz just entered a brand new phase, and the media still does not understand what President Trump is doing. The White House reportedly notified Iran before the U.S. naval operation began, not because America is backing down, but because America is already in control. Then Iran answered with threats, warning ships to obey Tehran's corridor or be treated as targets. And what did the Trump administration put in place? Destroyers, fighters, drones, constant surveillance, and total dominance without crossing into Iranian territory. This is not another endless war. This is something very different and very deliberate. So why should you care? Because the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical shipping lanes on Earth. When Iran tries to squeeze that choke point, it hits energy markets, consumer prices, retirement accounts, supply chains, and the cost of doing business across America. Every family that fills a tank, every trucker moving goods, every small business paying shipping costs has skin in this fight. Now, politically, this is where the contrast couldn't be clear, because for years, weak leaders let Iran posture, harass vessels, and test American resolve. The former Obama approach sent cash and confusion. The previous administration talked tough and projected weakness. President Trump is doing the opposite. He's restoring freedom of navigation, protecting commerce, and doing it from a position of strength. Iran is posturing for headlines. America is setting the terms. That matters because deterrence works when your enemy knows you mean exactly what you say and has no doubt you can enforce it. And speaking of strategic choke points, there's another battlefield President Trump is moving to lock down for America: critical minerals. The White House has just announced over $30 billion to secure America's critical mineral supply chains and named a specific Alaskan project as a key strategic asset for U.S. mineral independence. Now, I've been to the Vizsla copper drilling site myself. I've seen it with my own eyes. But what's happening right now is bigger than most people realize. President Trump just unveiled Project VOLT. It's a $12 billion strategic mineral reserve designed to stockpile essential resources and keep America strong, secure, and independent from foreign supply shocks. Now, Vizsla Copper is drawing serious attention because these resources matter for defense, energy, and manufacturing. Now, pay very close attention because the company trades in the United States under VCUFF and in Canada as VCU.V. It's on your screen there. So check the exclusive briefing. It's only for Next News viewers, link below, and see why this story is getting so much attention right now. Now back to the showdown in the Strait, where the same America First doctrine is already being put into action. See, here's the twist the usual talking heads will not admit. The Trump administration did not stumble into this. Secretary Pete Hegseth made it clear that Project Freedom is separate and distinct from direct war operations, defensive in nature, limited in scope, and temporary in duration. Translation: no American need to enter Iranian waters or airspace, no easy Democrat war powers ambush, and no room for the establishment to drag this into another bloated nation-building disaster. This is precision pressure, not chaos. The White House, you can see on your screen here, has privately notified Iran in advance about the launch of the U.S. naval operation Project Freedom in the Strait of Hormuz and warned Tehran not to interfere. According to Axios and U.S. officials, the message was reportedly intended to reduce the risk of escalation as American forces began escorting and guiding commercial shipping through the waterway. So the White House gave Tehran notice and made clear, don't interfere. Iran's answer was a threat from the IRGC Navy ordering every ship into its corridor or face force. They issued this warning: all vessels must use Iran's designated transit corridor in the strait. Any deviation will be treated as a threat and met with immediate force. 2 U.S. destroyers recently passed the strait and are now off the coast of Dubai. So Iran tried to act like it owns the strait even with U.S. destroyers moving through. Now listen to Trump shift to the regime itself and explain why unarmed Iranians cannot simply rise up. A reporter asked him in the Oval Office just a few hours ago, you said recently that if Iranians were armed, they could take over their regime. Do you plan to arm them soon? Here's his response.
You said recently that if Iranians were armed, they could take over their regime. Do you plan to arm them soon?
Well, I don't want to say that, but yeah, I mean, people say, why aren't they protesting? They want to protest, but they don't have any guns. So you could have 200,000 people protesting and have 5 or 6 sick people with guns. And when they start shooting them right between the eyes and you see a guy fall and another one fall and you have no guns, very few people would be able to stand there and do it. I mean, I understand it. I tell them not to.
So Trump's point was blunt. Tyrants rule by shooting the unarmed next. The Pentagon lays out Project Freedom, the combat power now covering commercial ships in the Strait. Here is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane, outlining Project Freedom.
Let me describe this defensive operation just a few clicks down for you. As the Secretary said, Project Freedom is designed to protect commercial shipping and help restore the flow of commerce through the Strait and sustain freedom of navigation. CENTCOM has established an enhanced security area on the southern side of the Strait that is now protected by U.S. land, naval, and air assets to help defeat further Iranian aggression against commercial shipping. I'd like to share a little bit more about U.S. capabilities, but for operational security purposes, I'm not going to get into specific details out there. On the surface, guided missile destroyers and other warships are detecting and defeating Iranian threats. This includes fast boats and one-way attack drones. In the air, more than 100 fighters, attack aircraft, and other manned and unmanned aircraft, synchronized by the 82nd Airborne Division, are in the air 24 hours a day, providing defensive overwatch for the enhanced security area and its approaches that I discussed. These forces are comprised of over 15,000 American service members and have established localized air and sea control to protect against Iranian threats. Commercial vessels that transit through the area will see, hear, and frankly feel U.S. combat power around them on the sea, in the skies, and on the radio. And as of this morning, as was mentioned prior, 2 U.S. flag merchant vessels have transited, and we anticipate more to transit over the coming days. Further up the Gulf, U.S. Naval Forces Central Command continues to work to identify and mitigate any threats. Beyond Project Freedom, CENTCOM and the rest of the Joint Force remain ready to resume major combat operations against Iran if ordered to do so. No adversary should mistake our current restraint with a lack of resolve. And the President has said, as the Secretary has, that now is the time for those with equity stake in the Strait to come assist.
If you have an equity stake, step up. The scale of the Shield destroyers, aircraft, thousands of American troops on watch. Now Pete Hegseth draws the line even sharper, saying the mission stays out of Iranian waters and airspace.
Did U.S. Central Command to restart the free flow of commerce through the Strait of Hormuz under the umbrella of Project Freedom. To be clear, this operation is separate and distinct from Operation Epic Fury. Project Freedom is defensive in nature, focused in scope, and temporary in duration, with one mission: protecting innocent commercial shipping from Iranian aggression. American forces won't need to enter Iranian waters or airspace. It's not necessary. We're not looking for a fight, but Iran also cannot be allowed to block innocent countries and their goods from an international waterway. Iran is the clear aggressor, harassing civilian vessels, threatening mariners from every nation indiscriminately, and weaponizing a critical choke point for its own financial benefit, or at least trying to. For too long, Iran has been harassing ships, shooting at civilian tankers from all nations, and trying to.
Department of War, Pete Hegseth, making the mission clear, defensive, limited, and aimed at reopening an international waterway without handing Democrats war power talking points. Next, Trump says past presidents let Iran play games for decades, and he names Obama directly.
Other presidents should have done this. 47 years they've been toying with these stupid people in many cases, stupid people. This should have been done by Obama. He went the other way. He was giving them cash. He sent plane loads of Boeing 757, took the seats out, and put green cash, $1.7 billion in the plane. Every bank in Virginia, D.C., and Maryland was stripped of their cash. They took out all the cash from the banks. They put it into a plane, a Boeing 757 packed with cash, and they flew it to Iran, and they let these guys just, I don't know what the hell they did with it, but they took it and then gave them billions and billions of dollars and bribed them basically to be friends. And after giving them tens of billions of dollars, they screwed Obama, okay? That's not the way we play. No, we do it the old-fashioned way. And they should wave. They're very proud. Maybe you won't see a white flag, but essentially that's already what they are. They should wave the white flag of surrender. In hockey, they say uncle, right? When are they gonna cry uncle? But and they have another expression. If this were a fight, they would stop it. But you know, we have to go out and we have to do it, and it's very sad to see. Even shooting those boats, they've got 3-4 guys. They got a little machine gun in front. They're shooting at one of our ships that's meant for it. It bounces. They don't even know they're being shot at. And then they take it out with an Apache helicopter in about 2 seconds. They go, Apache ship, northwest 10 degrees. Turns around, boom. I don't like that, you know? You lose people. All these people, it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary.
He took Obama to task there, didn't he? So, this is the big reveal. Project Freedom is not about chasing war. It's about breaking Iran's leverage without giving Tehran the conflict it wants. General Dan Kane said guided missile destroyers are already defeating fast boats and one-way attack drones, while more than 100 fighters and other aircraft provide around-the-clock defensive overwatch. That means America is protecting shipping, restoring commerce, and dominating the battle space from outside. And then President Trump drove home the deeper truth. Iran's rulers stay in power because their people face bullets while unarmed. He didn't promise reckless escalation. He expanded reality. And that is why the strategy matters. It pressures the regime externally, exposes its weakness internally, and keeps the initiative firmly in American hands. So here's the bottom line. Iran can issue threats, bark orders, and pretend it owns an international waterway, but under President Trump, the United States is no longer reacting like a confused bystander. We're leading. We're protecting commerce. We're defending freedom of navigation, and we're doing it without stumbling into the kind of endless military disaster the establishment always seems to produce. This is strength with discipline. This is deterrence with clarity. This is America First policy working in real time. If you agree that President Trump is handling Iran the right way, I want to hear from you. Yes or no, should America keep Project Freedom in place until Iran backs down completely? Drop your answer in the comments and share this report everywhere. Subscribe if you have not already, but more importantly, text the number you see on the screen. Text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963 and join the hundreds and hundreds of patriots who already have, and they're beating the algorithm. They're getting direct alerts from me right to their phones. Make sure you check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Stay bold, stay loud, and keep fighting for the truth.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.